Still no opening book available yet in the opening theory of the Fisher Random Freestyle. So let us study the game between world number 1 Magnus Carlsen and his main rivalry, Hansmoke Niemann. Look at the randomized position at the base. Okay, and Niemann handles the white pieces and played d4. Magnus played d5, g3, g6, b3, c5. I thought he will play b6 as well. But after c5, to pressure the d4, and white is not able to take that pawn because of the pin, and he played c4. Counter attack on d5. But it says bad move according to computer engine. Better was bishop to b2 first. Okay, and then after bishop takes, or after c takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, then we have rook takes d4, and then queen to c5, and rook to d2. Okay, so still, the evaluation bar is equal. Okay, but let us go back with Niemann's c4, and then Magnus simply captures the pawn. We have queen takes c4, and then knight to e6 to put pressure on the d4 pawn, and bishop to d5. Okay, Niemann is intending to capture the knight in order to destroy the pawn structure, but it says bad move again. Rook takes d5 by Magnus. Sacrifice the rook! Okay, so interesting. Yeah, better was simply castles, according to computer, but Magnus captures the bishop. Queen takes d5, and then castles. Knight fd2, preparing to castles as well. But it says bad move again. Better was queen to c4 to go back on that safe square to avoid the coming rook da tempo attack. Okay, then after knight takes d4, wait a minute, bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, and simply knight c3. Okay, so black still with the upper hand. So let's go back with knight fd2. Then we have knight to c6. So look at the pressure on the d4 pawn. Then queen c4. Knight c takes d4. And we have bishop takes d4. Knight takes d4. And then knight to a3. Okay? To develop the knight and also to neutralize that knight on d4. Very strong. So b6. Knight to b5. Then Magnus took the knight. Queen takes b5. And queen h3. Amazing strong move. Because black doesn't allow the white king to make it castles easily. Okay? So, and also with the pressure on h2 pawn. Now we have queen d3. Queen takes h2. Rook f1. And again, queen h3. Knight to f3. And bishop to c6. Okay? What's the idea of bishop c6? Rook g1 and queen e6. Okay, it says bad move by Magnus. Better was h5. Okay, maybe to avoid the coming g4. Okay, and extra space in the king side. So let's go back with queen e6. And then we have king f1, bishop to f6. Gradual developments. Then later on, it can be very useful. Okay, so king g2. So it looks like artificial castling. g5 with the idea to play g4. Okay, so that's the idea of bishop f6 to play g5. And he is expecting that Niemann's king is going to play king g2. So that's why he prepares to play g5 and then going to g4 to attack the knight. And then king f1 again. Look at the king's development and the rook on g1. Very bad. So queen h3 check again, king e1, and we have queen e6, king f1, and king g7. Okay, and g4 to stop the coming queen h3 again. And we have h6, but unfortunately, white is not able to play king g2 because of the hanging pawn on g2. So, very hard. So, queen c4, hoping for queen to queen, but Magnus accepts the challenge. B takes c4, and we have a6. The idea is to play b5. So, Magnus is a material down in this situation, but look at the powerful bishop pair. King g2. So, at last, and the rook on g1 can be useful later on, but it says bad move again. So, better was rook g3. Okay, and then move the knight somewhere like Knight e1 to maneuver it towards d3 or c2, and then the rook towards the b file to attack the b pawn. Yeah, something like that. So let's go back with king g2. b5, c takes b5, a takes b5. And as we knew, that Magnus is the king of endgame. He is the strongest endgame player in the world. Then king g3, okay, to move away from the annoying pin. And then rook a8 to attack the a2 pawn. And we have rook d2 to protect it. And then c4. Look at the powerful pass pawns. e3, then we have c3, rook e2 and b4, and then later on bishop d5. Yeah, so rook b1 to attack the b4, and bishop to b5, forced to go down, because otherwise if rook c2, then black has bishop d3. So rook e1 and then rook to a4, and Magnus misses the move. Rook takes a2. Okay, then after rook takes b4 and simply rook b2. Excellent. And white has to capture the bishop. Okay, then rook takes b5 and rook c1. So still black is winning, because here if rook takes b2, c takes b2, and the light squared bishop is coming to d3 with unstoppable promotion. So winning for black. So let's go back with rook a4. e4 by Niemann. So he's trying to play e5 to trap the bishop, but it says bad move again. Better was a3. Okay. So not able to capture that pawn because of the pin, and rook takes a3, rook takes b4. All right, but he misses that move and he played e4. So c2, rook bc1, bishop c3, and rook takes c2. Okay, simply decided to return back the rook. And now Magnus played bishop d3, another strong move. Okay, and he captured the bishop, b takes c3, and rook to e3. Then we have c2. Of course, white has to play rook e1. Then bishop takes e4, smashing all the pawns. Look at the pawns. 2 against 3 pawns up. Possible because the pawn on a2 is going to fall. And knight d2, bishop g6. Knight b3, rook takes a2, and knight c1. We have rook a1 and f3. e6, king f2, h5. Course, you have to break that pawns. Gh5, bishop h5, and king e3, and rook a3 check, king d2, and another pawn. Rook takes, king takes c2. So it's clearly 3 pawns up and totally decisive advantage for Magnus. King d2, g3, and knight d3. But Niemann is still hoping for some miracles. Rook g1, bishop g6, knight to e1, and rook a3, and knight g2. Then we have e5, knight to e3, and at this point, spectacularly, he played g2. What a move by Magnus. And knight takes g2. Because the point here is, after rook takes g2, then black has rook g2, rook a2, and then king e1, then takes, and with 2 pawns advantage. So it's definitely losing for white. Okay, so knight takes g2 by Niemann, and we have rook g3, king e2, and simply bishop e4. Simplify things to avoid complications. And after bishop e4, Niemann resigns. Let's gonna wait for another next Friday. Thank you so much. See you next time.